Across the world, men who have never met, never spoken, never shared a group chat, are beginning to notice the same thing. They're seeing the same patterns. They're running into the same behaviors. They're bumping into the same contradictions. It feels like thousands of men are waking up from the same dream at the exact same moment. And what they're waking up with isn't fury. It isn't bitterness. It isn't blind hate. It's clarity. Clarity about what certain modern relationship dynamics have actually turned into. Clarity about standards that have no connection to reality. Clarity about expectations that only ever seem to move one way. I want to walk you through what a lot of men are finally starting to notice, and why this shift in awareness is quietly changing everything. The first thing that keeps coming up is this. A growing number of women are demanding things from men that they don't demand from themselves. She insists any man she dates must earn 6 figures, while she's not working at all. She wants unwavering loyalty, while keeping options lined up in the background. She expects emotional stability and maturity, while regularly exploding, stonewalling, or throwing scenes. She wants near perfection, while putting in effort that wouldn't pass for participation. The double standard is no longer hidden. It's loud. It's obvious. I once had a client show me his ex's dating profile. Her wish list read like a corporate job posting. Must be tall, must make at least $150,000 a year, must have no kids, must own a house, must be in shape, must be emotionally open but never needy. This was coming from a woman who was not employed, living with her parents, had 2 children from 2 different men, and hadn't stepped into a gym in over a decade. Yet in her mind, anything less than a near-perfect man was settling. On top of that, men are noticing a growing pattern of bad behavior followed by instant victimhood. Some women cheat, get caught, and somehow still flip the story so they're the ones who've been wrong. They smash property, hit or assault their partner, and then cry when legal or social consequences catch up with them. They start chaos, film it, post it online, and then wait for pity to roll in. And disturbingly, it often does. Recently, a video went viral of a woman who openly admitted she had cheated on her boyfriend with 3 different men. He left, as any self-respecting person would. She then went on TikTok sobbing about how men can't handle strong women and how he never fought for us. The comments? You deserve better, queen. He wasn't man enough. We've reached a point where gaslighting isn't just personal anymore. It's cultural. Then there's the obsession with clout, attention, and micro-fame, to the point where some women will burn stable relationships for a few digital crumbs. A 5-year relationship can be thrown away because a semi-famous rapper liked a photo. A marriage can be risked because a minor celebrity sends a DM. Good men get sidelined while women chase fantasies that will never become reality. One client's fiancé ended their engagement because a local athlete followed her on Instagram. She truly believed that meant she had some kind of connection with him. She broke off the engagement, chased this guy who was following thousands of women, slept with him, got tossed aside in a week, and then tried to return to her ex. The level of delusion it takes to treat a follow as a future is unreal. Men are also exhausted by watching their partner's internal issues get pinned on them. She's unhappy, must be his fault. She's anxious, he must not be doing enough. She's bored, he must not be interesting enough. The idea that her dissatisfaction might be rooted in her own thinking, habits, wounds, or choices rarely gets discussed. For many men, no matter what they do, it's wrong. He plans dates. They're not creative enough. He's romantic. Now it's too much pressure. He gives space. He's cold and distant. He's attentive. He's suddenly needy and clingy. The common denominator often isn't the man. It's that some people are addicted to drama and chaos, and without it, they feel empty. To avoid having to look inward, some women have become incredibly skilled at flipping reality with language. They rewrite events on the spot in ways that always position themselves as the injured party. That night she was throwing plates and screaming, "He made me feel unsafe." That time she emptied the joint bank account. That was me protecting myself financially. The affair she had, it was self-defense against emotional neglect. What's forcing the truth into the light now is technology. More and more men are recording serious arguments or encounters, not to win, but to protect themselves. And when you listen back, what you hear is shocking. Calm men being accused of raising their voice, patient men being called aggressive, while they're the ones being hit, cursed, or screamed at. The gap between what's being claimed and what's actually happening is enormous. On top of this, self-destructive behavior is being marketed as empowerment. OnlyFans and similar work gets framed like a prestigious career. Sleeping around with multiple partners at once gets framed as proof of confidence and freedom. Chaotic choices are labeled living your truth. Chasing attention is rebranded as self-expression. I saw an interview with a woman proudly celebrating her entry into adult content. She spoke as if she'd landed a high-powered dream job. No mention of how it might affect her future relationships, mental health, or reputation. Just slogans about getting the bag and not being ashamed. The level of normalization around this is surreal. At the same time, lying about sexual history has almost become expected. We hear, body count doesn't matter, but reality often looks like it doesn't matter. So don't you ever find out. Some women genuinely believe they can live extremely promiscuous pasts, hide it, and it will never touch their future. But truth has a nasty habit of eventually showing up. A man I know married a woman who told him she'd been with 3 men. A couple of years later, at a party, her drunk friend starts reminiscing about the wild days when she was with different guys every week. The real number was closer to 50. His issue wasn't the number, it was the lie. It was the fact that his trust was built on fiction. How do you build a solid future on that kind of foundation? Another major area men are waking up to is how easily their pain is dismissed or mocked. Physical pain? He's exaggerating. Depression? He needs to man up. Emotional struggle? He's weak. Asking for help? He's being a baby. In some environments, a suffering man is seen as a joke. One story stood out. A man was dealing with the agony of a kidney stone. If you've experienced that, you know it's brutal. His wife rolled her eyes, accused him of being dramatic, and refused to drive him to the hospital. He ended up calling an Uber while nearly passing out from pain. She later posted jokes online about men acting like children when they're sick. He signed divorce papers from his hospital bed. Then there's the excuse machine constantly running in the background. I'm like this because of my sign. The planets were off. That's why I cheated. I have anxiety, so I can't be held fully responsible when I blow up. There's always a reason, almost never serious ownership. Astrology in particular has become a convenient escape hatch. Some women will make huge life decisions based on horoscopes and then be confused when their life is a mess. They'll end relationships because our signs don't match, while completely ignoring deeper issues like values, trust, maturity, or respect. Men are starting to leave immediately when they see boundaries being ignored or emotional blackmail being used. The appetite for games is gone. The patience for drama is evaporating. They're learning to walk sooner instead of spending years trying to repair what the other person won't even admit is broken. Then we get to gold digger culture being reframed as high standards. Plenty of women now say openly, if he wants to date me, he should pay all my bills. He should cover my rent, my nails, my hair. Just because. Not as a husband, not as the father of her children, just as a guy she's casually seeing. They call it knowing their worth. There are literal coaching programs teaching women how to pull as much money, gifts, trips, and resources as possible from men while giving almost nothing emotionally in return. They share tactics on how to keep men interested just enough to keep the money flowing. Then they're shocked when men pull back financially and emotionally and become more protective of their time and resources. Add to that the reckless behavior in early adulthood that gets presented as harmless fun, but can cripple someone's life later. Some young women brag about having sex with multiple strangers in public bathrooms, on camera, sharing it online like a comedy bit. They don't grasp, or don't care, that those clips will still be on the internet when they're applying for jobs, building a career, or raising children. A recruiter I know regularly finds public videos and posts that show applicants in humiliating or compromising situations. Those resumes quietly go in the no pile. What started as hot girl summer turns into months or years of closed doors. And no one warned them, because warning them is now called slut shaming. Then there's the entitlement toward extremely high-value men, while offering very little of value in return. Every woman deserves a top-tier man, we're told. They all deserve a rich, handsome, emotionally perfect, endlessly romantic partner. But when everyone believes they deserve the top 1% while bringing average, or even below average, behavior to the table, most people end up disappointed. Instead of reassessing their own expectations or contributions, many simply blame men. We also see fake independence wrapped around very real dependency. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man. Followed shortly by, he should pay my rent, he should cover my lifestyle. If he doesn't, he's not a real man. Traditional provision is expected. Traditional support and reciprocity, not so much. They want all the benefits of old school gender roles with none of the responsibilities those roles traditionally came with. Protection without appreciation. Provision without partnership. Accountability is missing at every serious layer. Some treat legal systems as games, criminal behavior as quirks, and real consequences as minor inconveniences. They've gone so long without facing hard boundaries that they genuinely behave as though laws, rules, and enforcement are props. I saw a clip of a woman giggling while asking a police officer to handcuff her for fun during a traffic stop. She really didn't seem to understand how wildly inappropriate that was. To her, the situation existed for her entertainment. Then there's the whole simp economy, built on lonely men being drained emotionally and financially. Some women keep an entire rotation of men around. One pays the phone bill, one covers the car payment, one sends money for food, one buys gifts, one listens to her vent. She refers to them as friends or supporters, but knows full well most of them are hoping for a romantic chance that will never come. I saw a woman bragging online about how she had a separate man for each bill. They weren't boyfriends, they weren't partners, they were walking wallets. She literally called them her roster and felt zero remorse. When men finally share how they've been used, manipulated, or abused, their pain is often minimized. He opens up about being cheated on and financially drained. People laugh. He talks about being physically or emotionally abused. It's brushed aside. He discusses being traumatized by divorce, false allegations, or parental alienation, and he's told to get over it. On one podcast, a man explained how his ex-wife cheated on him and then financially wrecked him in the divorce process. The female host laughed and said he must have fumbled her, implying he probably deserved it. Reverse the genders for a second. Imagine male hosts laughing at a woman's divorce trauma. The backlash would be instant and brutal. Men also see relationships being slowly strangled by microscopic criticism and perfectionism. Some partners treat every tiny mistake like proof of not caring. He loads the dishwasher wrong. He buys the wrong brand of something. He forgets a minor item. He doesn't word a text perfectly. He gets home a bit late. Each moment gets turned into evidence that he's failing, that he doesn't love enough, that he's not committed. One man told me his wife literally kept an Excel sheet listing every small complaint and misstep. She brought it out during arguments as proof that he was a bad husband. He brought out divorce papers as proof that he was done living under a microscope. We now have a widespread collapse of respect inside many relationships. Some women genuinely carry the belief that their respect is automatic and guaranteed, while his must be constantly earned and re-earned. They demand reverence while offering cynicism. They expect his admiration while feeding him constant critique. Influencers make it worse by selling the idea that a relationship should feel like a never-ending viral highlight reel. If he's not planning movie-level dates weekly, he's low effort. If he's not posting her constantly, he must be hiding something. If he's not publicly performing his affection, he's not truly invested. Meanwhile, a lot of these women are living very normal lives, but expecting luxury treatment. Working basic jobs, but wanting private jet experiences. Barely contributing financially, but demanding luxury travel, endless gifts, and high-end experiences. Their friend groups often become feedback loops that reinforce this. They gather regularly, list every flaw their boyfriends have, and almost never mention the good. They feed each other lines like, You deserve more. He needs to do better. Don't you dare settle. They encourage each other to demand more while giving less, to threaten leaving as a tactic, to escalate, not resolve. It's not surprising that so many of those relationships collapse. Dating apps add fuel to the fire by turning people into swipeable products. Some women reject good men over trivial details. Too short, wrong job title. Not stylish enough, wrong star sign. They scroll through hundreds of faces as if they're browsing a catalog, then wonder why nothing feels meaningful, deep or lasting. On top of that, the victim mentality is everywhere. Every disagreement is framed as emotional abuse. Every boundary he sets is labeled controlling. Every assertion of his needs is twisted into an attack. If one person is always the victim, they never need to evolve. The cruelty toward normal men is often quiet but brutal, matching with men just to eat for free, keeping conversations going for attention with zero romantic interest, leaning on men for emotional comfort while texting someone else they actually want, all while not caring what this does to the man on the receiving end. And the kids growing up around these dynamics, they're learning all the wrong lessons. Sons learn that just being male means they're inherently suspicious, defective, or dangerous. Daughters learn that entitlement with no accountability is strong. Both learn that relationships are battlefields, not partnerships. Then there's the confusion around motherhood and independence. I don't need a man to raise my kids, on one side of the mouth. Real men step up and take on single mothers on the other. Independence is claimed. Support is still demanded. Credit for doing it alone is claimed, while expecting rescue. Even body image discussions get twisted. Some women drastically change physically, sometimes adding huge amounts of weight, and then demand their partner feel exactly as attracted as before. If he struggles, he's labeled shallow, superficial, and cruel. She expects unconditional acceptance while reserving the right to alter herself however she likes. Financial exploitation of dating is also becoming normalized, treating dates as a way to eat for free, lining up men to pay for different experiences, rotating men based on what they'll buy, not who they are. They insist they're looking for love, but their behavior screams looking for benefits. Meanwhile, behaviors that would be instantly called abuse if a man did them, screaming, throwing things, slamming doors, silent treatment, manipulation, are shrugged off as just how women are when roles are reversed. If a man raised his voice a single time, many would brand him abusive forever. Let's not pretend pregnancy entrapment doesn't exist either. Some women lie about being on birth control. Some tamper with condoms. Some retrieve discarded condoms and try to get pregnant. They see a child not as a shared responsibility, but as guaranteed long-term financial security. Is it any wonder more men are getting vasectomies while still young? We also see wives spending their entire marriage partially planning their exit, calculating what they'd get in a divorce while still sharing a bed, documenting every slip-up as evidence, smiling in photos while mentally building an alimony case. Social media has turned many relationships into performances instead of partnerships. Some women care more about the photo than the moment, more about the wedding than the marriage, more about what strangers see than what's really happening. They're not building a life, they're building a brand. Hypergamy, always reaching for the better man, combined with infinite modern options, is leaving many women deeply lonely. They pass on good, grounded men, always convinced they can do slightly better. They chase emotionally unavailable men. They waste their prime years on guys who were never interested in commitment, then panic when their options shrink with age, and blame men for not lining up. At the same time, men are being given a rule book that contradicts itself on every page. Be confident, but don't ever risk being labeled controlling. Be protective, but never seem possessive. Be vulnerable, but never appear weak. Be ambitious and successful, but always available. They're expected to thread a needle that keeps changing shape. When relationships end, things get even more twisted, stories are rewritten, happy memories get reframed as symptoms of manipulation. Consensual intimacy gets rebranded as coercion after the fact. A normal relationship becomes a toxic trauma bond once feelings fade. Anything can become abuse with enough relabeling and enough distance from the truth. The rise of therapy language, narcissist, gaslighter, abuser, toxic, could have been a tool for healing. Instead, it's often used as a weapon. Every boundary he sets is controlling. Every preference he has is problematic. Every standard he holds is misogyny. Actual healing gets replaced with diagnosing and attacking. So what are good men doing? They're opting out. They're looking around at friends destroyed in courtrooms, brothers ruined by lies, fathers alienated from their children. They're listening to other men's stories of being used, exploited, and broken. And they're concluding that, for them, the risk simply isn't worth it. So they choose something society never expected men to choose: peace over partnership. They choose quiet over chaos. They choose hobbies, money, and fitness over drama. They choose their sanity over being constantly on trial in their own home. And surprising to some, these men are thriving. Their finances get better. Their health improves. Their mental clarity returns. Their sense of self grows stronger. They become living proof that a man's happiness does not depend on being in a relationship. That success doesn't require romantic suffering. That life doesn't have to be constant conflict. We now live in a time where almost everything is documented. Arguments, cheating, lies, contradictions, videos, screenshots, voice notes, all of it. Men are no longer being told, "You're imagining it." They're seeing it with their own eyes, hearing it with their own ears. The solution to all of this isn't complicated, but it is rare. It's called accountability. Some women are starting to recognize the role they've played in repeated relationship breakdowns. They are reflecting on their behavior, admitting where they were wrong, and accepting that respect must go both ways or it isn't real. As for men who still want relationships, they're becoming very selective. They're done with chaos, done with endless tests, done with disrespect, done with one-sided effort. They're looking for character, not just curves, for values, not just vibes, for peace, not performance. The cultural shift happening right now is not a phase. It's permanent. Men are not going back to handing out unconditional provision just for being in their presence. They're not going back to blind trust after seeing what blind trust can cost. They're not signing up for deals where they give everything and receive tension, suspicion, and contempt in return. The awareness can't be unlearned. The truth men are waking up to is not that all women are bad. It's that hurtful patterns have been normalized, defended, and praised. That pointing out these patterns gets labeled hateful. That asking for basic reciprocity gets a man called selfish or toxic. There are plenty of women who don't act like this. Women who believe in effort, loyalty, respect, partnership. But they're often grouped together with those who don't, and they're paying the price for the damage done before them. The way forward isn't endless gender warfare or us versus them. The way forward is uncomfortable honesty. Honesty about the fact that some standards are unrealistic. Honesty about the fact that some expectations are selfish. Honesty about behaviors that destroy trust instead of earning it. Men are waking up to patterns they were told didn't exist, to realities they were mocked for seeing, to experiences they were bullied into denying. This awakening still isn't about hate. It's about clear vision, clarity on what they refuse to tolerate, clarity on what leads to suffering, clarity on what destroys them from the inside out. Everyone talks about a loneliness epidemic. What almost no one admits is this: often men aren't alone because they can't get women. They're alone because they've chosen solitude over dysfunction. They've chosen peace over unpredictable chaos. They've chosen to protect themselves from patterns that nearly broke them the first time. A correction is coming, and in many ways it has already started. Reality always wins in the end. Standards that nobody can meet will eventually be dropped. One-sided expectations will eventually collapse. Behavior that drives people away will eventually leave people alone. Men who share their stories aren't just venting, they're warning others. They're putting a spotlight on what used to happen in the dark. They're giving younger men the chance to avoid years of unnecessary pain. The accountability revolution begins with everyday choices. men refusing to reward toxic behavior, men enforcing boundaries and walking away when they're violated, men demanding the same respect they're expected to give, men requiring reciprocity instead of accepting crumbs. The hard truth is this: the way a lot of modern relationships are being run is simply not sustainable. Either behaviors change or more relationships end. Either accountability returns or more men disappear from the dating pool. Either reciprocity comes back or good men stay absent. The core realization men are having is painfully simple. They deserve far better than constant criticism dressed up as devotion. Better than being drained financially and emotionally while being told that's love. Better than being mistreated while being told it's empowerment. To the men hearing this, your standards are not a problem. Your lines in the sand are not abuse. Your desire for peace is not weakness. Your need for respect is not negotiable. Do not give those up for anyone who would never do the same for you. To the women who see themselves in these patterns, if some of this stings, that doesn't have to be the end. It can be the beginning. You can choose differently. You can be different. You can become the kind of partner you'd want to have. Offer what you expect. Give what you want to receive. Respect what you demand. The relationships that survive this era will be the ones built on mutual effort and mutual truth, not performance and manipulation. Eventually, all the acting will stop, the show will end, and reality will sit there quietly waiting. Those who can handle real life will thrive. The alarming truth men are waking up to is not modern women are the enemy. It's this: highly toxic patterns have been allowed to flourish unchecked. Destructive behaviors have been sugar-coated and sold as empowerment. And expectations that only take and never give have been normalized. Even when that truth is uncomfortable, it's still better than comforting lies. So men are choosing what's real over what sounds nice, clarity over confusion, evidence over gaslighting. And that choice, that awakening, is changing everything. Men deserve relationships that multiply their lives, not gut them. That build them, not break them. That calm them, not constantly destabilize them. And if they can't find those relationships, then walking alone is not a failure. It's a wise, honorable decision. Your happiness matters. Your peace matters. Your mental health matters. Don't let anyone, any movement, any trend convince you otherwise. Don't let society shame you for stepping out of the fire. Don't let culture tell you you're crazy for seeing what's clearly in front of you. What have you noticed? What have you lived through? What truths have you had to accept the hard way? Share your story, document reality, expose the patterns, help the next man make a better decision than you were able to. The awakening is already underway. The truth is already spreading. The patterns are already being exposed. And more men are making the same decision: to choose themselves, to choose their peace, to choose their sanity. Over dynamics that offer none of those things, stay strong, stay clear-minded, and most importantly, stay loyal to what you know. Deep down, you truly deserve. Because you do deserve better, and accepting less isn't noble, it's unnecessary.